All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for actually being here. I know you're all very busy, and I know you're probably thinking what I actually do for a living. And I actually came from a conference earlier. It's all about healthcare and all that stuff, IT stuff. The fact is, it's quite unfortunate. I don't know if it's unfortunate or fortunate, but the thing is, when I talk like this, and I'm wearing this, people actually think I'm either a banker or a lawyer. But things actually start to change once I start to talk like this. Especially, if I start to go there to the MRT station and I try to approach someone to ask a very simple question, probably like where's the toilet or something like that. Because as I start to approach the random person, they always stay away from me and say, sorry, got insurance already. I normally answer, yeah, I'm not saying insurance, got credit card already. But there is another question, which is, whenever I start talking like this, and I am, wearing like this kind of attire, and I am happily just standing by waiting for a friend in a hotel lobby. Unfortunately, the people start giving me their order. Buenas noches a todos. Pues la verdad es que yo soy de un país que tiene muchos problemas económicos, ¿no? Soy de un país que tiene que reformar la Constitución. No? The thing is, whenever I speak like this, people think it's very sexy, no? Well, okay, the thing is, it's not necessarily what they think, but
Welcome back, folks, to Philippines Uncut. I'm Buddy Kunana. Now, tonight's topic is really about charter change or constitutional reform, but we're going to segue a little bit to something more fun, and that is to show the enigmatic side of our guest, Orion. He's not only the founder of the Correct Movement and a staunch advocate of constitutional reform, he's also a stand-up comedian. And we're going to talk to Orion tonight about this side of him. You know, Orion, when I look at you, you look like a banker, or a lawyer, or an accountant. I would never have thought, and I've known you since college, eh?
Yeah.
I would never have thought that you were into stand-up comedy. Now, I mean, is this a skill that you've been hiding from all of us for such a long time, or what?
It might have been a skill that I was hiding, because like back in college, I had this very public persona of being serious, like a serious nerd.
Right. And you come across as being very serious, sure.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about charter change.
But among friends, like during parties, I was telling jokes here and there back then. But I never had the confidence to actually tell it in public. It was in 2009 that I actually started doing that at an open mic in Singapore.
And this is what's amazing, because a lot of people who are successful stand-up comedians have been doing this for a long time. Like I know people, funny guys, high school and college, and they always cracked up the whole house, et cetera, et cetera. But for you to start 2009, or just 5 years ago, and to achieve what you achieved today, is pretty, impressive. Now, I understand that you just won a very prestigious award in Singapore a few nights ago. Well, tell us a bit about this.
Yeah, this was the Singapore International Comedy Festival New Act competition. So there were like 20 different contestants who joined in. There was like an elimination. They took the top 5 from each one, and then on the finals, which was just last Saturday. All of us competed against each other. So these were people from all around the world, U.S., Canada, UK, Australia, India, Singapore, Hong Kong, everywhere. There was even one guy from Mexico, So yeah, it was.
And you bagged the top award.
Yeah.
Now, does this top award come with a prize? What did you get?
Yeah, basically I'll be flying off to Edinburgh in Scotland this coming August to attend and perform in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. So there's a comedy segment there. I'll be performing there. So everything's paid for, There's some pocket money. There's air ticket and accommodations.
Very percent, and you'll be representing the Philippines in this
Yes.
in this very important stand-up comedy festival in Scotland.
Yes.
Excellent. Now, what kind of comedy do you do? You know, a lot of people have. Some people do whole parenting. Some people do, the frustrated businessman. What is your angle?
My angle is about the fact that by just changing your accent, people can look at you differently. So you'd have noticed in the first part, I started off with speaking with a British. I was basically speaking with a British accent, So a lot of people would think that wearing this sort of attire and then speaking with this accent, a lot of people would think that you're probably rich and you're probably a banker or a lawyer. And then I started speaking with. I started speaking with a Singapore accent.
Which you actually gave us a little taste of that when you're. No offense to my Singaporean friends, but you actually did a little Singaporean impersonation, right?
Yeah.
Earlier in the show. So
early in the show.
But don't let me stop you. Go.
So so actually, once I start to talk like this, then the people there in the audience, they have a different way of thinking about me, So.
And then of course you did the Pinoy accent.
I did the Pinoy accent.
I want you to do it now. Do it.
So once I start to talk like this, like a Pinoy, a general Pinoy, over there in Singapore, everybody thinks that we're either waiters or bellboys or the concierge in a hotel, So that's the kind of impression that people have. It's different accents have different associations to it,
Now, I know on social media that you do the round of the stand-up comedy circuit in Singapore. I see your posts on Facebook, like, I'm going to do a gig here. I mean, how often do you do this in Singapore?
I do it at least once a week.
Wow.
At least once a week, yeah. So there's all these different comedy venues that are going on. I try not to have too much, too many gigs going on because I also have my correct movement to take care of and my day job, which is in IT. So
Okay, so another question: do you earn from this? Do they pay you these gigs?
Yeah. I sometimes. So what happens is most of these gigs are open mics. So many people try out.
Open mic just means
anybody goes free for all. Anybody goes up on stage.
That's tough.
And what happens is, I've been lucky that after because I guess people like my stuff. So after I perform, when I get off the stage, I get approached by people from different companies, and they say, I totally liked your stuff. We'd be having some sort of a corporate party going on. Would you like to host, or would you like to do a bit of stand-up comedy at our corporate party? It's little stuff like that going on everywhere, So I kind of earn from it.
No, in a way, I'm not surprised that you are into this and you're doing well because, as I've always told people, I have a high respect for comedians, and I think actually good comedians are actually closet geniuses. Because you have to be smart, man, sharp as nails, to be on the ball all the time. Look at this Russell Brand, for instance. No, I mean, I don't like the guy, the actor. I think he's uncouth. I think he's ill-bred, but I absolutely have tremendous respect for him because he actually is quick as nails. I mean, he's really a straight-up guy. So okay. Tonight, you're going to do a little sample for us here on the show. But before we do that, how can this thing now, I mean, have you ever thought about using comedy to further your movement's message here in the Philippines?
Totally. Whenever I do little talks, like last Monday, I actually did this. I attended an open forum or a discussion forum on the FOI and other reforms. So I talked about correct and our 3-point agenda. And in the course of doing it, I did my accents and people were laughing. It was very lighthearted, and they became much more receptive to whatever I had to say.
Do you have like spiels for Filipino audience? Because I mean, some of your spiels are really for foreign expats.
Yes, very much.
For Pinoys, you can also bring it with Pinoys.
Yes. I've done some stuff that's in Tagalog. With basically it's a variation of the thing I do, but it's in Tagalog. And then there are some jokes that are only Filipinos will understand.
Okay. So wait, I'm not gonna hold you back. We prepared a small studio audience for you here, and
cool.
So guys, before I go, I want to say join us again next year in the show where we talk about what matters to you, because you guys matter the most. And I'm going to leave you now in the capable hands of the enigmatic and charismatic Orion Perez Dumdum. Thank you. Thanks. Take it away.
Okay. So one of the things I do in Singapore is because I've been in Singapore for some time. Okay, matagal na ako sa Singapore. So I've learned to speak with a Singlish accent, a Singapore accent. So I try to help out friends and newcomers about how to speak with the Singapore accent. So what I do is I teach them, I give them some lessons. Lesson number 1, okay, if you want to learn to speak like a Singaporean, you have to get the intonation right. Okay, it's an up and down zigzag tone. No, 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 no. What's happened? What happened? He told me he needed to go home already. He said to me he need to go back already lah. So, as with any accent, there's not just one kind of accent, okay? Usually there's, like in Singapore, there's going to be a bit of a divide between rich and poor, There are what they call the Heartlanders, who are the masa in Singapore, and they sound different from the rich people. Okay, the Heartlanders, they sound like this. Hey, what you want? You want a chicken rice? Steam or roasted? But if you go over there to the office buildings, the corporate centers and the corporate boardrooms, they sound totally different. They sound like this. Actually, I think it's very important for us to follow the procedure properly. Otherwise, we will not get our ISO certification. Now, there's a problem if you are one of those people who actually speaks perfect grammatical Queen's English all the time. When you start speaking with the janitors there in Singapore, okay? If you're like, if you're like an Indian, for example, okay, they speak very good English, very grammatical English. Excuse me, sir, is it totally possible for you to tell me which way the toilet is? And then the janitor's going to say, eh. You got to say it in the correct Singlish way, okay? Hey, uncle, toilet, where? So you have to understand, in Singlish, there is a kind of like a translation between perfect grammatical English and Singlish, okay? I'll give you some examples. Example number 1. Why don't you honor your commitments? You say you do, you never do. You say you come, you never come. Why, huh? And number 2, you're going to hear this in the office, okay? What are we going to do now? So how? And then number 3, this is very common in Singapore, okay? What's wrong with you? Why are you so like that? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. That was a little excerpt from my act. Okay.
I actually came from a conference earlier. It's all about healthcare and all that stuff, IT stuff. The fact is, it's quite unfortunate. I don't know if it's unfortunate or fortunate, but the thing is, when I talk like this, and I'm wearing this, people actually think I'm either a banker or a lawyer. But things actually start to change. Once I start to talk like this, especially if I start to go there to the MRT station and I try to approach someone to ask a very simple question, probably like where's the toilet or something like that. Because as I start to approach the random person, they always stay away from me and say, sorry, got insurance already. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for actually being here. I know you're all very busy. And I know you're probably thinking what I actually do for a living. And